picnic, barbecue, and this is first class. This is first class for real. I witnessed the culmination of all of this. I was at Sister Aisha, Mohammed, and Brother Abdul's house yesterday, and they were busy all day preparing food. I just want to thank everybody. I'm mentioning her because she's still back here working. And I told my wife, I said, I don't think she gets tired, man. And I said, when I see her tomorrow, I'm going to ask her how she doing. And she said she still ain't tired. So, alhamdulillah. We thank Allah for Sister Aisha. She's a hard worker. And she always keeps a good spirit, always happy spirit, and that's how we should be. So she's an example to all of us. And you all are an example to the entire community. I feel bad for the people that's missing out on this. The weather is beautiful. It was humid yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's so nice out here, and this is such a beautiful park. The park lawn look good as my lawn. It's nice. It's nice. Almost that. Don't tell on me. That's one of my gardening and landscaping. That's one of my obsessions, I guess. My wife would call it. What you call it? Compulsive things that I just gotta be out there doing something in the yard. But praise be to Allah. Our community, this town we're in, Calumet City, you know Imam Mohammed, this is where the town he moved to when he came back from Little Rock. And when he came back from Little Rock, we were blessed with my brother, with Khadijah first, and then Amatullah first, Khadijah, and Muhammad, Shakir Muhammad. And he brought them home. And the first place they lived was in this town with their daddy here in Calumet City. And we all migrated out here behind him. And he bought a house. And my sister shared a house with him out here. And we still have that house. And we reported to you all a while ago, we're working on it. And it's coming along. We're working on getting it ready and back in shape where we can have it habitable again. And it was a wise move he made. I'm not going to talk too much, but it's some things I want to share with us as a community. And like we said, we taping this. And I've been walking around joking with people. I said, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody sees it and everybody knows the answer, they all say, did it make a sound? And I said, yeah, if you do what I do and put it on YouTube. Because I'm going to record it. And this is something I picked up. Oh, I'm wearing this fancy hat. I don't wear hats. I don't wear them in public. This is my disguise hat. When you catch me in the hood, I had this on. Or catch me in my yard, I keep the sun off my head. I got hair, but this hat helps. And my brother gave it to me, and I thank Allah for him. He's a smart brother. He's the only other person I let dress me beside my wife. And I depend on her. I need her. Because when I was younger, they used to have a lot of rules about what matched with what and what color. And I just wasn't too into fashion enough to really keep up with it. So I was always asking somebody, self-conscious, like, do this go with this? Before I leave the house, I would ask my mother or my father. They say, yeah. And my sister, she stepped in. My sister's real close to me in age, so if I was around, she was usually around. And she'd say, no, that don't go with that. That belt don't match with them shoes and them pants. And so I said, okay. So, but now a lot of that's changed, because the same stuff that I used to couldn't wear, my wife colorblind, one or the other, she tell me, "Dog, that's okay. You can see colors, right?" Okay. Sometimes I'll be questioning. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, it's just all fun. We moved out here, and Imam Mohammed told us, this was some years, I forget what the culminating point, but a lot of us, I see a lot of faces that are familiar with the different moves he made through the years. And his moving out here culminated with him saying, after CPC, he said he thinks the situation for us, our community, was better. Oh, I remember. It was around the same time when Minister Farrakhan purchased the buildings. When he came and got the properties on Stony Island, he told us the south suburb. This was when, the community didn't know he was moving in there, but Imam Mohammed knew. So he said he came out here and actually was looking to buy property, and I think that's around the same time CPC started. But he he had bought a house, and then later I followed him. I married, and my wife and I, we bought a we rented a studio apartment out here. Then we bought a house after I saved some money. And we lived here for 15 years. Nice town. But we watched this town. I don't know if it's just me, but we watched this town from Imam Mohammed moving out here, the population had to double. When we started using the Mecca Fund out here at the P.O. Box, and a lot of you all that donate, most of you all here probably donors to the Mosque Cares, and we still use the Calumet City P.O. Box. Yeah. Now, then Imam Mohammed moved a lot of the businesses, and the last business, CPC, evolved into CPC Comtrust, which was, he had a meat processing factory out on 176. That was in Markham. And the Markham meat factory, things happened where he wound up selling that. But during that time, he was making a call. He bought a lot that had the potential. It had 2 houses on it, but it had the potential to build like maybe 15. I know there were 10 lots. Well, how many, Robert? How many lots? Because we know when he passed, we got all the tax information came, and I said, no, we can't. We don't know who this go to, and we don't know how to pay it. It was at least 10, right? Houses. So I was recently, day before yesterday, I had to get an emissions test. So I drove in some areas in Markham that I hadn't been in. These suburbs, our people are moving out our people have been out here in the south suburbs. And the housing are like these houses. Y'all see these houses? These are like single family homes, and they like middle class, lower middle class housing. It's a community similar to this, and have been established many years ago, where the African Americans and the Caucasians all live together. But most of them, the governments are run by probably the same people that founded these little towns. You can look and you see the people. It's probably Polish out here. It was mostly Greek and Polish when in the neighborhood I moved in, and there's a lot of Greek and Polish now people here. But more African Americans are getting involved in government. We really, really, really missed a great opportunity. What we see that we had on Stony Island was due to the event that we had a working community. The people that worked in the masjid and that worshiped in the masjid usually lived within walking distance. And I'm telling you, in 20 minutes, I lived on 87th and Cornell, which is on the far end of Stony Island from the Masjid Muhammad at the time where we were there. It was like a 15-minute walk. And that was 87th Street to 74th Street. Yeah, it's on 74th or 74th Street. Yeah, 74th Street. And but a lot of the children I went to school with stayed in apartment buildings, which were a lot of them were on 87th Street. And I think Army Elijah Muhammad, the nation, had apartment buildings in that immediate area. I know he owned apartment buildings right next door to the place. And so a lot of people were employed, different jobs, different aspects of community life. And I remember Sister Aisha, her husband had a auto lot right across the street. Right? Am I wrong? Yeah. I don't see her. Yeah, but her auto lot was right across the street. And I'm sure there were countless businesses. And we talking about 74th and Stony Island. We had a bank across the street, which was like on 72nd or 70. No, that's the other direction. 68. Okay, good. Because the next thing I was going to mention 69th Street. Now I'm young. This is all before my time. I was my son's age. You ask my son about when he's 50. I'll be 50 in November. When he's 50, about what we doing today, he might not be able to tell you nothing. But I know because I was there by my father's side, and I was highly impressed. A brother was telling me, he said that Brother Daniel was just giving me a history lesson. He should be up here talking to us. Really, he was giving me a history lesson because this is Patriotism Day. And I'm on course. I'm not off course because really he kind of helped inspire me to talk about our history, because our history is American history. So the information that I was getting, it was just, as a child, we got a bank. You know, everything that you think a community should have. Now, there are other people outside. See, in my mind, I didn't know there was a difference between African American people and any other people. I watched television. I saw people on TV. Most of their faces were different ethnic groups. I grew up in the 70s, so I saw everybody. The 70s was pretty liberal. It was the 70s was an attempt to do fair by the races and to do away with a lot of racism. It was the beginnings of it. So we saw Spanish life, although sometimes they portrayed us how they saw us. So you saw the Mexicans and the blacks, and you saw Asians, and a lot of us, we'll look back at those TV programs and we'll say, well, that was racism and this and that. But that's the way they saw us. And because TV was bigger than the church, that's the way a lot of us saw ourselves. So, and it still happens today. A lot of our people aren't here because our voice is muffled or virtually silenced by pop culture. And pop culture is bigger than any church. I don't care, get anybody here to challenge me to say that there's a church, a synagogue, a mosque or something, or Hindu, Buddhist or something that's bigger than pop culture. So pop culture is the mindset of the public, and usually the public opinion. But there's something positive about that too. Imam Mohammed said that the public will, the will of the public or the populace, that people of faith believe that's the will of God. So in essential, so that's probably more Muslim practice than anybody else, because essentially we believe in human goodness, that human beings are basically created to be good, and human beings, when they work together, are good. And human beings by nature are social creatures. So the more we work together, the greater the good that comes out of our efforts. And we are witnesses to that, because we stand steadfast. We've defeated every enemy and every cause. They say, well, you don't have no enemy. Yes, you do. You walk around breathing and living. You got a real enemy. And if you don't look for him to see where he's bothered, messing with you in your life, then, you know, somebody should pray for you right away. Shaitan is our enemy on earth. And he's the enemy of all human beings. And every single one, none of us get a ticket out of his vices and tricks and schemes. So, but we have stayed through the ups and downs or disappointments or things we may have, through what I consider a genocide of my entire generation. They call us Generation X. That's because they saw us as being a generation that missed out on the freedoms of the common citizen, American citizen, due to due to internal or due to self issues, you know, due to culture, us following the culture of what the Pope John Paul II called the culture of death, you know, and the evils of the world. So Imam Mohammed did put in place things that were just so wonderful. So this is something we can do. I think we can appreciate Imam Mohammed, and it doesn't hurt to reflect on some of the things that he did personally in his ministry to get us where we are today. I was looking at that picture on Facebook that we put to promote this picnic today. A picture of him planting the flag into the stand on Stony Island. And could you imagine the impact? Now we know the impact they had on us, being African American people just coming through Jim Crow, civil rights, and all the things we came through, and then coming through the Nation of Islam. Here's the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Could you imagine the impact on the people? See, we think that we don't have people up high that are looking at the Imam Muhammad said one time that he looked the root word for species, and it comes from the original meaning comes from money or capital. So somebody named us the human species, And that mindset that named us a human species has held power for we don't know how long. And the power that they hold, they believe that they're responsible for us. In a way, we don't know if it's good, we don't know if it's the devil, or if Allah blesses the good that they do. But it's a lot of good done by people. But I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't be chaos if the people that have the power and control the circumstances of the common man, that's what I'm looking for the title. We're the common people, so the people on high, if they will release a little bit of that power and have a little more trust in the common man, which is what all religious people have faith and believe that God wants us to have freedom and wants us to trust each other. So they will work a little harder on releasing a little bit of the power so that the people can express themselves in a more responsible way in government and in all aspects of society, instead of treating us like little children. Because the general public that if you're not part of a community like our community, we're not looked at as little children. We're watched. So we're watched to see what we're going to do. Like you watch a child that has promise, right? So so they see us as being a group that has promise and has staying power. We've been here for 80 years. And the good is still outweighs whatever bad and whatever problems we had. Nobody's written us off. So when they look at Imam Mohammed, son of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, making that bold move he made, carrying that flag and planting it, and then taking that flag and marching it through the south side of Chicago, and then he went downtown and marched with the flag, and then continued to do it to the day. I don't think we missed any Patriotism Day. Now, of course, some are big, some are small, and some and they started out big, and then they got tapered off, but we never gave up on them. It might have been a couple years we didn't have it when we were struggling on Stony Island. Yeah, it was a few years we didn't have it. But I'm sure they watched him do that, and it gave faith, put faith back in the entire community of us, black people, African American people in America. Because they say if Imam W.D. Muhammad, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, can pick up the flag and walk with it as a patriot and believe in it and believe in the United States Constitution and call his people to follow him and risk his position as leader, because a lot of people would have turned their back on him if they didn't trust him.
That's right.
They trusted him, so the powers that be trusted us as a people, and we got a second win as a people, as African American people. Because African American people, we weren't too far off of the plantation, and they know how to handle us. You know, we break the law, they throw us in jail. You know, you do something wrong that you shouldn't do, they take back a little of your freedom. You know, be it your business, and we learned the biggest lesson of all. We had our whole society taken back from us.
Yes, sir.